In this video, we will see how to use the pivot operator in SQL. For that, I have created a table called as datespin. That is, query the table and see what is the input table. So we have a table with 3 columns, which are sales date, product, and sales. And the expected output I have created in the Excel file. I will show you that as well. So this is the expected output that we are expecting from the pivoted query. That is, input table have 3 columns, which are sales date, product, and sales. In the output table, we only want sales date, and the values in the product column, that is A and B, should be pivoted. The pivot operation in SQL mainly consists of 3 parts. The first part is to select all the columns which are required in the output. That is, we require sales date in the output. Then the second column which we want in the output is product table. Then product column. Then the third column is sales. Now, this is taken from the input table, which is datespin. Now we are going to consider this as an input query or a subquery, and we are going to create a derived table using the subquery. Select all the columns from the subquery. We are going to put this inside a bracket. Then on this derived table, we are going to apply the pivot function. Now, after this derived table query, we are going to write the pivot function. Open the bracket. Then inside the pivot function, we are going to write the condition. So here we want to pivot the sales data on the product column. So we are going to use an aggregate function, which is max, because anyhow the value is going to be unique. So it doesn't matter if I use max, min, or even if I use sum, the value won't be changing, because if we compare the output, we can see that all these sales data and product columns are unique. So here I'm going to use a aggregate function, which is max, that is max of sales. For the column which I'm going to pivot is product. Now we have to specify the values in the product table, that is the input table. So the values are A and B. Then close the bracket. Then we are closing the bracket for this pivot function, and then giving an alias name for the pivot function. Now let us run the query and see what is the output that we are getting. Now if I execute the query, we can see that we have got the expected output, which is similar to what we have in the Excel file. That is, we have sales date and the pivoted product values, product column values, which are A and B, with respect to the corresponding sales data we are having in the input table. If I run the entire query, we can see that, or we can compare both the tables. Now let me run both the input table as well the pivoted output table. Now let us compare and see what is the output we are getting. Now if we see that our input table look like sales data, product, and sales, and our output table has sales data with the values of product column pivoted. Similarly, if we want an output such that, see, we don't want sales date, only we want product column which are pivoted with the sum of sales with respect to the product column. The only change what we have to do here is remove the sales date from the innermost subquery. Now let us run the query and see what is the output we are getting. We will be getting an output, here we want sum of sales. So instead of this max, we have to change it to sum also. Now let us run the query, both the query, the input table as well as the pivoted query, and let us see what is the output. Now we can see that we got an output which has only the product column values which are pivoted A and B, and the sum of sales with respect to each of the product. That is, if I take the sum of 46, 17, 65 and 45, I will have 173. And if I take the sum of 409, 480 and 411, I will have 1300. So this is how we pivot data in SQL. And this query has certain limitations, which are, see, here in the product column we only have 2 values, A and B. That is why we can simply write the product column values or the product column distinct values which are available, A and B. Consider that if the product column is having 100 different distinct value, so it will be very difficult for us to simply type in the values, like 100 values typing would be very difficult. So during that cases, we have different method like dynamic pivot, or other method is like using a codename function and print the distinct output in the similar format which we require and copying it to the pivot function. That we will see in another video. Thank you.